Hello everyone, today on Scottish Memories I am chatting to Scottish actor Sylvester McCoy. How are you all? I hope you are all happy and healthy and safe out there, wherever you are. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Remember to leave a comment and leave a like as well. Especially if you are listening on podcast, remember to subscribe as well. That would really, really mean the world. But today, I am properly over the moon to be chatting to Sylvester McCoy. You'll recognise Sylvester from things like Tis Was, The Last Place on Earth, Casualty, Doctors, The Bill, Eureka, Jigsaw, Ghostlands, Only Human, Sense8, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, and of course Doctor Who, where he is the 7th incarnation of the Doctor. Sylvester, hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you, very well.
How have you been finding yourself? Are you happy and healthy and everything?
I am happy, healthy, and stuck up a mountain in France in a medieval village.
There are worse places to be.
I'm just trying to keep the Franco-Scotia alliance alive.
that's actually very true, the old alliance.
Yeah, we're going to need it, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So how have you been? What have you been up to?
5'6", but I've shrunk to 5'2", and I've no idea how. I mean, I've lost 4 inches.
That's actually
this way, from height-wise.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a complete mystery to me. Although I did have my new hips put in, and I think maybe they lost a couple of inches while they were plugging in the new hips.
I wonder
if I had known that they could have changed my height, I would have asked them to stretch me a bit higher. But apart from that, I'm fine and dandy.
Good. So work-wise,
another Scottish memory. The dandy.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I love the dandy.
And the beano, yeah.
I absolutely loved the dandy. Yeah. I always thought Desperate Dan would be someone cool to grow up to be like.
Yes, indeed. When America needs them now.
Yeah. So work-wise, what have you been up to?
Well, there's a thing, I don't know if you know about this, but there's a plague. And the plague has gone across the land and across the world. And there's no work.
No, there isn't a little bit, is there?
Although I did do a film before the lockdown, and it's coming out at the beginning of September. It's called The Owners. It's a murder horror. It's a kind of a mystery horror. And I play a sweet old doctor. I'm always getting cast as a doctor. And Rita Tushingham plays my wife, slightly demented wife. And Maisie Williams is part of a gang that breaks into the sweet couple's home. But things go very nasty.
So when's this coming out?
Oh, September, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of September.
Oh, not long at all then.
I don't know where. I mean, I don't know where nowadays. Maybe, who knows where it'll pop up.
Most things I think are being released streaming nowadays. You know, you can get.
I think so, yeah.
Straight to TV, especially since the cinemas and theatres are a bit scary to go to now because there's too many of us.
I know. Yes. Well, I mean, the virus is trying to do something about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking out all the old farts like me. Because we've destroyed the planet, so the planet is going. This is its revenge.
Fighting back. So you're a Dunoon lad, are you?
Aye. So doing the water for Glasgow.
Happy memories?
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. No, Dunoon was great way back then because it was a holiday resort. Before mass European, Spanish travel, and. In the winter, it was quiet and peaceful and introverted. In the summer, it became a place where, during the Glasgow Fair fortnight, half of Glasgow descended on it. During the Paisley Fair fortnight, half of Paisley would descend on it. It was, as a child, it was great to grow up in. There were rowing boats, and there were at the end of the pier, there were competitions, doing things like that. Yeah. Can you do that? And that one. If you did it well enough, you got an ice cream. It was great.
It's funny you saying that sort of thing because that sort of different parts of Scotland, everyone's sort of a mass exodus to different parts. It used to happen here in Edinburgh. Obviously, a lot of Glasgow used to come through to Portobello. And
Yes, yeah.
the beach and everything like that. And since
Yeah.
they're encouraging us to visit more of our own home country instead of going abroad, it's kind of started to happen again now, which is nice.
It is, yeah. It was. It was. I mean, then it was great. I mean, they tried to call it, in order to battle against the Costa del Sol, they tried to call it the Costa Clyde. Never quite had the same ring about it, but
It's not quite got the same ring.
I'm going to the Costa Clyde. Oh, well, I'm going to the Costa del Sol, son.
So did you do a lot of staycation, sort of visiting around Scotland when you were young?
Well, no, because Dunoon was where I grew up, and everybody in Dunoon was working in the holidays.
Yeah, so
I mean, I was a delivery boy. I used to deliver tons of eggs to hotels.
I suppose if you lived in the main holiday destination, it kind of narrows down where you're going to go yourself, really, doesn't it?
Yes, I did have relations in Airdrie. Yeah, and I used to go there from my holidays, and I used to play on the slag heaps. And to me, I loved them, because there were little hills and there were little lakes, and they had a wonderful dog, and myself and the dog used to have great adventures on the slag heaps around Airdrie.
Yeah.
That was coming from one of the most beautiful areas in Scotland, on the Clyde. For me, Airdrie was heaven.
It's funny that when you think back to, because when I was a kid, I grew up with a lot of fields round about me and things like that. And I used to, the things you used to just run off and explore. Me, my friends making little dens out of trees and everything like that. And it's, you feel like kids are missing out on something nowadays, not getting to do as much of that.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, like, to go back to Dunoon, we had complete freedom. You left home, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you didn't come back till bedtime. And if you were hungry, you went into an auntie's or an uncle's or a friend's house, or, and you had utter freedom, because we were surrounded by mountains and the sea. And if you could swim or climb a mountain, you'd be all right, really.
There used to be, I don't know if it was similar with you, but I remember when I was a kid, and I was the same, go out and play in the morning, and then run in and out for a snack, and then that was it. But as soon as the street lights came on at night time, that was my, right, I have to go in now.
Well, yes, I have a story about that, because I had, my father was a Londoner, and I used to go down and visit my aunties in London. And I was 14, and I came down, and my auntie said to me, she said, "Now come back when it gets dark." And I said, I will. Like, just you mentioned, you come back for stuff. Anyway, Dunoon didn't have many street lights. And so I was in Soho, the Two Eyes Club, listening to some early rockers at the age of 14. And I came out of the club, and it was still daylight as far as I was concerned. And then I looked up and saw above the lights, it was dark. And to this day, my auntie does not believe my excuse. But it was true. Because when it got dark, but in London, it never got dark.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair, though. I mean, I was in London when I was in my 20s, and it's a different world. It was a different world.
Indeed, yes.
So do you get back to Scotland much?
Yes. I mean, I came back to the Edinburgh Festival over the years. Since the 70s, I've been coming back every now and again, sometimes, 12 years and then a 5-year break and then 4 years. And so that, and I go down to Dunoon when I can. I've done theatre tours into Glasgow and Edinburgh, the Edinburgh theatres. And I was filming in January of this year in Glencoe. There's a Scottish film coming out at Christmas. They say it's the first Scottish Christmas film. It's kind of a rom-com, love story, comedy, gentle comedy. And I and Fraser Hines play two old farts in an inn, in Glencoe. It was great filming it. It was wild. Great.
Scotland is getting more and more things starting to film here, which is fantastic because
I know.
I was a performer. I was an actor. I kind of stopped doing it a few years ago, but I was always having to go down south. There was never really anything up here, but it definitely feels like there's more of a thing happening now.
I think so, yes. I mean, if you look at Northern Ireland, when they did Game of Thrones, that transformed Northern Ireland. It suddenly became a hub for films, as well as Game of Thrones, went on forever and ever and ever. But now, and all the Northern Irish actors are acting all the time because there's films made there. I think Outlander might have done, I'm not 100% sure, the same thing, be doing the same thing in Scotland, where they've built, I mean, they should have built a studio years ago. Scotland should have had its own studio many years ago. I mean, to think that Braveheart was made in Ireland.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly what I was going to say, because I remember when Braveheart came out, and you were watching it, and it was all filmed in, well, mostly filmed in Ireland, and then there was Irish actors who didn't really bother to change their Irish accent.
Well, that's a revenge for Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
But you're right about Outlander. It's pulling a lot of people to Edinburgh now. There's a lot of Outlander tours you can get around Edinburgh because it's been used for a lot of filming sites. Yeah. And I was chatting to Jason Connery a couple of weeks ago because he's working on the new film studios down in Leith that are being
built. Great. Yeah, they're being built. Oh, great.
Yeah, he's in the middle of that now. I think the project slowed down a little bit, but you've hit the nail on the head. We should have had them years ago, and they are being built here now.
Yeah. And they will bring lots of work to Scottish actors, as is the example of Northern Ireland.
I think the city and the whole country is being noticed for how beautiful it is, which is nice.
Aye, it is. It's a funny wee country.
We get to watch the people that watch the channel. I'm very lucky. We get people from all over the world. There's people that watch from Canada, America, Australia, all over Europe. People with a Scottish heritage, you know, who expats moved away or they've got ancestry and they're searching out about it and things like that. So they're always
when they were kicked out to
essentially
the Highlands to make way for sheep.
But what I have noticed when I've been chatting to them, I've diverged, I hope you don't mind. What I have noticed as well is over in those sort of places, they seem to have held on to the Scottish culture almost more than we have in many ways.
Yes. I mean, I'm partly from Irish culture. You know, my family came over during the industrial shipbuilding revolution in the Clyde and stayed. But on St. Patrick's Day, I mean, we had more green on us than was left in Ireland. I mean, birds used to build nests in us. We were so kind of more Irish than the Irish. Oh, my name is McNamara. I'm the leader of the band. I used to sing that in Dunoon Town Hall.
I've heard people reach out to me and go, "What do you do for St. Andrew's Day?" And I'm like, "Not much."
Can't think really. Burns Night. Burns makes up for St. Andrew's Day.
Yeah, well,
I mean, St. Andrew's, he's a saint. Burns was a human being.
This is true.
And a great one.
This is very, very true. So what I was going to say was, for people if they're looking to come over for the first time, what would be your top tips for them?
The top tips? Gosh, I mean, it's very difficult, really. I mean, obviously Edinburgh, you know, stunning, beautiful place. But Glasgow, since they cleaned it up, since the cultural city became Glasgow, and they cleaned it all up, its architecture is quite astonishing. As a little boy coming from Dunoon, I used to sometimes go up to Glasgow. I always found it a very frightening place because it was highly polluted. All the buildings were black, you know, and it was, you know, kind of dangerous. But now it's a stunning cultural city, and it, you know, competes very favourably with Edinburgh. Where would I mean, obviously, they're all the usual things, really. Let me think, what would I really like to do? I suppose go to Dunoon. They'll love me in Dunoon for saying that. Uh,
Something about Dunoon.
you ask all of it, Scotland is fascinating and interesting. Oh yes, the thing that I really love now is there are two canals outside Edinburgh that meet, and they have a special pulley system or lift system for taking the barges down.
Yeah,
and they've also
wheel.
got the what is it again?
Falkirk wheel.
The Falkirk wheel, and they've got these two amazing statues of horses. I think that's stunning. I mean, and that's kind of a wonderful bringing together of Scotland's old industrial past, i.e. the barges, but also Scotland's invention and modern kind of technology, which is the wheel, the way that thing works. And also then Scottish art. All in that little place, you get the creativity and history of Scotland in a very quick time.
Yeah, that part you're talking about, the Falkirk Wheel, it's the Union Canal joining back to the Forth and Clyde Canal.
Yeah.
Which was disconnected years ago, and then they decided to rejoin them up, which the Falkirk Wheels, you're right, it's a fascinating piece of engineering.
It is, and it's you know, it's modern. Yeah, the contrast is great. The
statues,
where else?
Yeah, the statues you were saying as well are the Kelpies. That's what they are.
Yeah, the Kelpies. Yeah,
yeah,
and they're great. They're dramatic. You know, they're really. It's quite that's yeah. I mean, the rest of Scotland, go anywhere and you have a great time. Skye is amazing. I once filmed in Benbecula. Benbecula seems to me like a group of a group of islands around puddles. It's got lots of little lakes. There are all these little puddles, and we filmed in a hurricane. It was so. We had one of the biggest, fattest, loveliest cameramen you could ever work with, and the hurricane blew him over. And we had to call. That was great fun.
I was going to ask as well. Dunoon is one of these places that even if you just say it, I don't think you could probably get much more of a Scottish sounding word than Dunoon. Really, it's just
Dunoon's a bonny wee tune. I've just stood up and I'm going to sit down. It's like Brigadoon. I mean, Dunoon's like Brigadoon. When I was a little boy, when Brigadoon, the film, came out, I think they'd filmed some of it quite near Dunoon with Gene Kelly in it, who I met many years later, funny enough. But and I remember thinking Brigadoon was Dunoon. And in the winter, we used to disappear into the mist and then come back in the summer.
Yeah. You get that here a little bit as well. The North Sea Har.
Oh, I know. I've seen that. It's terrifying. This white thing comes up and envelops you and then freezes you.
Yeah. It just takes. It's actually nice sometimes when if it comes in and you're on the Royal Mile or you're down in the Old Town somewhere, it just feels like some of these old black and white films, you know, just sweeping over.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like to ask everyone what I like to call for Scots difficult questions. Hard choice questions, really. Shortbread or tablet?
Oh, when I was young, it was tablet. Now I'm old, it's shortbread.
Is that
one word?
Like sugar nowadays?
Yeah, yeah.
It did.
I managed to keep most of my teeth, which for a Scots person growing up way back in the 50s, 40s, is a miracle.
But the amount
Thanks to tablet.
Oh, well, the amount of sugar that's in it is ridiculous.
I know, it is.
Was it something that, you know, was it a family thing? Did your mum or your gran make it? Because my gran used to be sitting there for hours making.
Yes, no, my mother, I remember my mother making tablet. But then my family owned a bakery and everything like that.
Right, okay, I didn't realise.
I was able to go in there and eat as much chocolate and tablet and sugar as I wanted.
Haggis, neeps and tatties or mince and tatties?
Oh, mince and tatties.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because of my Irish heritage, we never had haggis. Never had it. And I only started having haggis when I went to London and stayed there. Right. And then I became kind of a stage Scotsman. When people would say, "Oh, the new," And I'd never heard anyone in Scotland say, "Ah, the new."
Yeah.
But when I went to London, I started saying it because it made them happy.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to haggis. I love haggis and neeps. Every time I come back, I love it. But mince and tutties is my childhood. You know, I mean, that was one of the great, things.
It really is. A lot of people have said that when I've asked that one. And it's one of these things that I don't think there's a set recipe for it. Because everyone's moments are just a little bit different, I put peas in there, I put the carrots in there. It's always nice. Iron brew or whiskey?
Oh, iron brew.
Yeah.
Well, because I didn't drink until I left Scotland at the age of 18.
All right, okay.
And I'm not really, I do drink whiskey now, but I'm not, it's like a lack of education in my life. So I grew up with iron brew. My grandmother took me aside when I was 5 and made me swear I wouldn't drink alcohol. And I kept to that until I left and went to England. And then I thought, well, she didn't say I could do it outside Scotland. So
it's true, it's in a different country.
Discovered alcohol in England, which was a better place to do it because it was a much gentler way into it. Lager and lime.
I'm the same though. I've not got much of a education in whiskey for a Scots person. I don't really know a lot about it. It's a weird, different world for me.
Yeah.
Square sausage or black pudding?
Oh, square sausage, lawn sausages. Oh, I miss them terribly. There is a market at Euston Station in London, which I sometimes go to, and they have a little market stall of Scottish pies, Scottish pies, and I buy a long thing of lawn sausages. Oh, I love it. Lawn sausages with breakfast rolls in Scottish. It's heaven.
A lawn sausage is just made for a roll, really, isn't it? It's
it is. But a morning roll, the Scottish, not the afternoon roll. I never liked the afternoon rolls. I don't know why they were different, but the morning ones were crispier.
There really is. When I was growing up, my mum, and I don't think they exist anymore. I think it was Ford's the Bakers here just outside Edinburgh, and they used to make the best morning Sunday rolls. And we get 6 delivered every Sunday morning, and I swear by lunchtime I had just sneaked in and just put a bit of butter on them and ate them all myself. They were just a roll.
I know. They were magic, special.
Tunnock's tea cakes or caramel wafer?
What tea? Whose tea cakes?
Tunnock's tea cakes. Tunnock's tea cakes. The marshmallow with the chocolate.
Oh, yeah, the marshmallow with the chocolate. Yeah. I loved those when I was a kid.
So which would you prefer, them or the caramel wafer?
The tea cakes.
Yeah. It's one of these things. That's one of these ones that it's not like a memory thing. It's just a preference, really. That one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't let you go without really asking. Obviously, I am a massive Doctor Who fan. You were actually, I would say, my doctor. You know how everyone's got their doctor?
I do, yes.
You were my doctor. You were at the. Although I came to Doctor Who quite late in my life, and it was you that was the main doctor when I was watching. So it's always, it's a big part of anyone's youth growing up. So I have to say, it's a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
But just before you go, obviously we're coming up to the 60th. We're not that far away from it. 4 years.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope I'm not gaga by then.
I was just going to ask, if they did ask you, would you go back for it?
Oh, of course, yes. I mean, I know all the other 20th century doctors, and Paul and Tom, and we all agree we'd do it. No, we have a great love for it, and we're so proud to have been part of it. Yeah, we'd all come back. We were very upset that we didn't really get a chance to do it for the 50th. But we made our own. I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
5-ish Doctors reboot. Yes. And I think that was better. And we had bigger stars in it.
I did see it. It was brilliant and very funny as well.
It was great fun. We had such fun doing it. Took a year to do, but we did it.
Well, as a fan, I would love if they brought you guys back to join it as well, because that was always the best part about when they got to these anniversary specials.
Yeah,
you get to see as many Doctors as you can together. So it would be.
I know the world, because we all, because the Five-ish Doctors was actually based on obviously truth. We realised, wait a minute, they're not going to ask us, so we better do something. But before that, the year before, travelling the world, meeting the fans, all of us had the same question: are you all going to be in the 50th anniversary?
Yeah.
Please. And the producers didn't listen to the fans.
Well, this might be, I'm sorry, I might have just started it for you now for the 60th. You might get that for the next few years now. I hope I haven't. I hope I've not started a trend. I apologise.
All right.
Sylvester, it's been an absolute joy to chat to you. Thank you for sharing some of your lovely Scottish memories with me. I hope you are healthy and safe, and all your family's safe wherever you are.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And I will let you get back to. You're in France just now, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll let you get back to hopefully better weather than we're having here right now.
Oh, it's very, very sunny. It's beautiful. Little white, fluffy clouds in the sky. It's a medieval village. It's so medieval, on top of a mountain, that it's so medieval that at night, if you listen very carefully, you can hear a tumbrel tumbling up, being dragged up over the cobblestones, and a faint cry of "Bring out your dead." That's how medieval it is.
I remember a little bit of Eddie Izzard, and he was talking about when they were going to build Euro Disney in France.
Yeah.
And obviously they were coming. All the Americans were coming over, and obviously we in Scotland are filled with castles. You can't throw a stone without hitting a castle. England's got a few. France known for a few as well. And then the Americans came over and they started building it, and they went, "Well, you better make it bigger. They've actually got castles here."
Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned the name of the Scottish film that's coming out at Christmas called Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers. Well, hopefully, I wish you all the best of success with it. I'll be looking out for it. Again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. It really does warm my heart. Keep yourself safe. Thank you very much.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He is so lovely. Thank you so much, Sylvester, for sharing your time with us. He's on such a busy schedule as well, and he took the time to chat with us and share some memories. Really can't say thank you enough. Remember, all go out and check out his new films wherever it's coming out, whether it's coming out in cinema or streaming. Go search for it, make sure you check it out. But remember, hit that subscribe button, like, leave a comment, and till next time, bye humans.